unconditional forgiveness. Unconditional forgiveness, Mike Carr.
I got into the car on Christmas Day and we took off. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, I was not driving, she was driving. Oh, she was mad. But she had a right to be. Fellow Toastmasters, the moral to this story is that there is no unconditional love without unconditional forgiveness. That driver was my wife. And the story of how I ended up in this racing vehicle began one day before Christmas Eve. It was 1995 and I had been really busy. I had been meaning to shop for my wife for Christmas for months, but here we were the day before Christmas Eve and I had nothing. I went running to the office calling, "Hey, does anyone have a catalog?" Someone did. I opened it to find one of those Y necklaces from the 90s. This is just as they were going out of style. Oh. But it looked great to me, and they had overnight delivery, so I swung by the office the next day, and I headed home for Christmas Eve. That night, we put the kids to bed, and my wife Julie and I sat down in front of a roaring fire. Julie looked at me and said, "I want to give you your Christmas present." Apparently for a year, she had been watching the kinds of gifts that I admired. And so when she handed me this beautifully wrapped box, I opened it to find a pair of silver cufflinks engraved with my initials. I was thrilled. And then she said, "Now it's my turn." I went over to my briefcase and I pulled out an unopened FedEx envelope and handed it to her. With an odd look on her face, she opened the envelope, reached inside, and pulled out a little clear baggie. Holding it up to the firelight, I could see the necklace was made of plastic. She slowly put the necklace back in the envelope and quietly went to bed. And I thought, I wonder if something could be wrong. We got up the next morning, got in the car to go to my parents for Christmas, and she took off. I mean, she went from 0 to 60 faster than I could say, "Costume jewelry." But that's when I realized I needed unconditional forgiveness. But it was about to get worse. We got to my parents, opened the front door, and there stood my mother, crying, "Oh, Michael, you have to come and see what your brother-in-law got for your sister for Christmas." He got her the most beautiful necklace. My brother-in-law had been paying for dental school, and so they had decided no money for Christmas presents. Instead, for months, he had been saving all of the extra shavings of gold left over after filling gold teeth. And then, he carved out a little mold of a Schnauzer puppy, my sister's favorite dog. He melted down the gold, poured it into the mold to create this beautiful Schnauzer charm. And then, my mother cried, "This is my favorite part." He did not eat lunch for 3 months so he could save money for a modest chain on which to hang the beautiful little Schnauzer. Oh, my mother cried, "It's just so wonderful." Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to ask. Julie, what did Michael get for you? I looked at my wife, and I could tell. I was dead. But you know what? I deserved it. You see, it hadn't just been this necklace. And it hadn't just been the last many months. There had been 2 years that I had been thoughtless, and I had been insensitive, and I had been too focused on things that did not walk or breathe or hold my hand. I deserved whatever pain was coming next. So, Julie, what did Michael get for you? That question still hung heavy in the air, and Julie's face was red. But instead, she pulled back her collar and she said, Michael also got me this beautiful necklace. She saved me in front of my family. Have you ever landed on the soft side of unconditional forgiveness? I learned something that morning that I would like to pass on to all of you today. How many of you are like me and are perfect? None of us are. We all require forgiveness, and so we all should be ready to extend forgiveness at every opportunity. Buzzers or not, especially to those we love. My fellow Toastmasters, there is no unconditional love without unconditional forgiveness. Julie and I walked away from my parents that morning when we got back in our car. I looked at her and I said, hey, thank you, and I'm really sorry. She reached up and she touched my face. She said, it's okay, I love you. And don't ever let that happen again.